So the Maimon B'chinas Hagilui. That's the chsuma, like sealed, concealed. So it's higher than Gilui. It's a chsuma nitna. That's why it's called chsuma.
And as time came,
because it's higher than the details.
As time came,
Omanda Omer, Megillah nitna, and the opinion that it holds that he gave each one a Megillah by Megillah. Zel K'mosh HaTeirah Bo Bizgalus Ba'Abiyah, Shekol Parsha Nemra B'Zman Meyuchad, V'Am Shocha Meyuchadus. Zel
Megillah, the way it comes down is man.
Megillah is also Meloshen Gilui.
Megillah, Meloshen Gilui.
And the Chayre.
No, but it also fits with the first two commands. It holds forward. I'm not going to
right. Right. And then,
let me just read the kitzur for my own sanity. So this is the meaning of Kucha B'richu. This is the Atzmus of Ein Sev, the Atik of Ak.
For the kids.
Are you right?
Istakel Baraisa, Atik the Ak, that's higher than Ak. Looked into Teira, which is Chochma the Ak, that's Chochma the Teira, which is the Moshel HaKadmeni, it's the primordial, the original Moshel. She'etzem HaNimshel Malubish B'zeh. A Moshel is not like a reflection, but a Moshel is actually the Nimshel is dresses up in it, manifests in it. And this Teira, like it is with there's a Klal and Prat. Prat hu adibur de Teira. The Prat, the details of the Teira, is the spoken word. Vayidaber hamshoche. Vayidaber means to transmit. Havai is chochma d'atzilis. Chochma atzilis sheba atzilis. El Moshe Yisei Daba. And he says, what's Yisei Daba? Yashlem Shezeu in maskil Eldol. That's Eldal. That's the maskil. Yisei sheba seichel ashpia. U'lashanis inu shezeu adei sha'in misatzem etzlei. In order to explain it to someone else, the Inyan has to become one, completely one with him, with his essence. Ulahamtzi inyanim, to innovate ways. That comes from the deeper part of the seichel and from the koyach hamaskil, a deeper place. Ulamayla mamsos ha-seichel betchila. It's higher than just innovating seichel, new seichel. El bnei Yisrael, that comes into bnei Yisrael netzach v'heid. Lamer is malchus. In order for the gili to come, sheyeh gili b'biyah. All this is prat. V'adibur amshocha wa ein sof sheba parsha. This dibur and amshocha is the ein sof in every parsha. Shekach yeh binyan v'tikun ha'elim. That this accordingly we should build and repair the world. Talmud chacham and benoim. V'akol nemer bezman. Everything said in its time. But that's all prat. Machshava gduma sheba aku b'chinas klal. In Ak it's in the level of klal. V'zeo teira megillah nitna prat. And that prat, that teira was given like a megillah. The details. Chsuma nitna is referring to where it was given a sealed chachma hagduma b'chinas klal. The original chachma of Ak, which is b'chinas klal.
Scarce, scarce.
This is a fun. It says the Ketera.
But now write this in English. Even just the parentheses. Just the parentheses is a good article.
Not so hard to write.
No, the parentheses.
Not so in English.
At this point, because we. One second, by the way, because we learned it and explained it, it makes it much easier to write. It's still hard to write because there's a lot of details here. For me, the challenge is mixing the two, the vision and the prat. Because I go back, like, what's the bigger picture here? And then what's the detail of this Pedic? There's two separate things. Explaining the Pedic is one side of it.
Hello.
And there's how the Pedic fits into the whole picture. This is very serious.
This Pedic is the whole picture.
This Pedic is very, very focused. What Taylor is. It's a far cry from what people think. Taylor is a book of laws, do's and don'ts.
What keys? What Mendel Grossman?
It's going to be done this
Well, that's what the first Rashi says.
Mendel Barber.
It's Rashi.
Okay, we know that. Rashi.
He's going to go on now and explain what you'll be learning. How these two levels are two levels in Taylor. Zmiris Heilichukecha and Shashrim Lefanai. So Zmiris Heilichukecha is how it comes down in the Prat. Shashrim Lefanai. Basically, Taylor is going to become like the mediator and the Mamutza between God. Shashrim, it's God's pleasure, but it also comes down to us as a guide and for us a benefit, a blueprint for us. So Taylor ends up having both worlds, both sides of it, which is the real mamutza, huh? No, that's going to be now. That I'm just.
That's why.
His whole pleasure is really Ak, and part of that is Torah.
171.
No,
this is going to go.
His pleasure is Ak, because that's
why Einstein and Copernicus can figure it out, and Bereshit figures it out.
That's it.
Because he comes from Taylor.
I want you to know, No, a lot of these, I said this, a lot of these physics books are talking about God. No, they're all making the jump.
The next good 20 pages is about these two levels of Torah.
Particles and waves.
You could say that. It's an element of particles and waves. But particles and waves is definitely fits all over the place. The idea that existence has both elements. Even when we spoke before about the Ragachova, that time has a pieces and it's one. It really comes down to you need both. For sure.
Yeah, but from the perspective of
But Rebbe
physics,
speaks of look.
Einstein was stumped by
A big secret of Judaism is the whole concept of Mamutza. Moshe and Adam. Moshe represents God, Shushbina de Malka, and Adam Shushbina de Maternissa. It's like the two Chosn. Moshe represents the Chosn, the Ebershter. Aaron represents the people. That's why Aaron was with the people. He made Shalom Bayis. He spoke to them. Moshe was represented God's word. Wherever you go, you find these two aspects of Mamutza. The Rebbe speaks about a tzaddik, a Rebbe, Ish Elakim. That there's a part of him that's Ish, a part of him is Elakim. It's always the bottom line is, we're always on a ladder, with one foot in the next step and one foot in the lower step. It's always like those stepping stones. The people who get stuck are not living. Living is that you're always yearning for the next level while you're still on this level. Then you go there, and then you need to yearn for the next. It's the whole process. And the Chassidim who really did living every second with this Ratzon Yeshua, this constant yearning. But you can't just yearn. You have to. It's like tension and resolution, and you're at peace with it. No, really, this is what it comes down to. It's a constant tension to get to the next, but it has to be resolution. If you want to put it in psychological terms, it's on. Shashvus. Like tension means I'm aspiring to something. Sure. If you have only Rotze and no Shuv, you can go crazy. If you have only Shuv and no Rotze, you're like a kind of...
Everybody's married, so you know.
Right, exactly. And people in this world, it's like you want angst, but you don't want anxiety, basically.
Right.
And that's the key. That's the secret. And when you come to peace that this is the journey, and this is your life is destined for such a journey, then you can live a peaceful life, knowing that there is no peace. No, I mean to say, a good way there's no peace.
We don't want peace.
No rest, but there's peaceful
right.
and stuff.
No, that's ultimate peace.
Look, it says when we say Mashiach comes will be Yom Shekul Shabbos Menucha, then it says Talmid Chacham Be'elam Haba En Le Menucha Le Be'elam Hazel Le Be'elam Haba. It's a contradiction. Menucha, no Menucha. So I think the Mashah, some say that you'll have Menucha from not having Menucha.
Right.
You'll be Menucha from not having Menucha. Who says? We're not
tiger
talking about anxiety. We're not talking about
and feels
anxiety
calm.
due to tzarus. We're talking about a lack of peace. Like the Rebbe had lack of peace. He didn't conquer the world yet. That was his.
A tiger, when he walks around, he feels calm.
What was that?
A tiger, when he walks around, he feels calm.
Absolutely, and you lock him up, right? Exactly.
There's something missing with Mashiach. The Rebbe even said it's just like when you can't do mitzvahs.
Avraham Shem Tov says, I always like this one. Tavshin Chof is coming out of the mikveh or something. That's what he tells us. At least the Rebbe was walking. It was like Ba'im Sunday morning, and the Rebbe sees him. And was like Ba'im Tavshin Chof. It was also the 200th anniversary of the Yotzeit of the Baal Shem Tov. So he says the Rebbe said to him, he said, Lag Ba'im in the free. Shnas Masayim. It's like Ba'im in the morning, 200 years. Dreht sich a Bocher in Gas, and the ganze Sache is nicht negay. And Bocher is hanging around the streets, and the whole thing is not negay.
This was Chadaram, that came back from Yeshiva. Remember that Friday?
I like that. Forget about who said it to, but bottom line,
same idea, same concept. The Rebbe said he came back and thought the streets would be upside down. Remember that, Simon?
Chadaram, yeah.
No, I'm saying, what Chadaram? Do you thought to make Chadaram before?
Yeah. No.
What does Chadaram mean? No one even knows
you have
what
no credibility after your texting.
Simon, I have credibility. I'm not going to discuss it in front of anybody. If you want to hear, I'll tell you.
I know you're losing $1 million.
It's nothing to do with money.
The siyasat of the community. Whatever. Yeah. The Rebbe said that. Came back yesterday.
Okay, then I don't want to know.
Okay, so it's fine.
Turn it over.
Not too hard for me.
Russian words.
Zero to do with money. Zero.
Total.
I thought you only care about money.
Never care. If I care about money, I would slap it.
You're broadcasting this?
Why not? No, that's for sure. But one of the most painful lines, I think I told you last week, the Rebbe says after Yud Shvat Tosh Yiralef, the Rebbe says a summer passed, a winter passed, And Hazman Eisha Shoshalei. I always go crazy when
That's time. That's time.
time does what it does. It was a
Decays.
year after
What
the
is
year
that?
said.
What does time do?
Decay.
Kills also-
that's the grace.
kills
Decay. Time is
That's
decay.
what right. Hazman is
That's
so a
really
year
last
from
one.
Yud Shvat. The moment that the Rebbe is talking, you're inspired to do everything. Everyone has that. And it says, "Man, we go back to."
But imagine.
I know about the purpose of my neshama came down to make this guy uncomfortable.
Let me tell you, you're failing.
If a person knew
See,
that.
something Ayin Beis in the kind
It's not geschmacken.
Yeah, doubts.
Yeah.
The guy says, "Yeah, the mother, the new kosher pizza shop opens up. We're one step farther from Mashiach." That close.
More comfortable
People think
goes.
that's like, yeah, exactly. People think so. Hakibush, did it betachtein.
Live in steakhouse.
Shlomo Shamir in the Algemein, he's not exactly the most religious guy, but he wrote a few years ago. He wrote Mashiach came out of Pesach, like he promised, and all the Jews were in hotels, so he went back home. Listen, the Rebbe. You want to know? Yeah, you want to know something? Read the Sichos of the Rebbe the summer of '67 of the war, 6-day war. You go crazy. And also the year after, like Simchas Torah to Kislev 68. I mean, after the war, like
Yeah,
not
there
68.
was some major things happening.
It's unbelievable. The Rebbe said, Claude, that's Mamish Nevuah. He said, he talked about He said that Friedrich, he says he was learning. The Rebbe said, I didn't realize till I was learning Sefer Maimon and Midrash that Friedrich Rebbe said Nevuah. He described Sukkim that described World War I, World War II. And the third passage the Rebbe says refers to this Friedrich Rebbe.
6-day war.
6-day war. How you talk about Sefer God?
The question is whether Friedrich Rebbe knew it, that he was saying this new war, because he didn't tell the Jews to come to
Fine.
America. He
But the
told
Rebbe says,
them
that
to stay
says,
in Europe.
what is how you talk about Sefer Gadol? The
Which-
Stachval
which was the
HaKodesh,
war?
right?
Sometimes you're allowed to say, sometimes not allowed to say.
Exactly. He wasn't allowed to say.
And the Rebbe
Exactly.
said,
that's
now
what
we'll
he
see
said.
whether it'll be the Hashtachval
We'll see,
HaKodesh.
you know.
They
What?
talk
Whether
whether it'll be the Stachval HaKodesh.
Or not.
He knew what he was trying to say.
You go.
Doesn't mean
The Rebbe says World War I,
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
The first year the
Well,
Rebbe
this
was-
is Yud Beis Tammuz Chav Zayin. Simchas Torah, the second Fabrengen Shabbos Bereshis Chav Ches, and Yitzchak Kislev Chav Ches. You'll go crazy from those.
Well, in that year the Rebbe said, but Korban Pesach.
Doesn't
The
mean
whole vision is there from the whole
he
century.
said it.
It's one of
Doesn't mean he knew
the
he
fun,
said it.
very, very.
But it's not year the Rebbe says, Mr. Shalom, but Korban Pesach. And then
he
next
was
year he
right,
says, no
and
more
then he
Shalom.
gave it-
Yeah, yeah. But
Hey, but still,
I heard
it's
from
the thing,
people
Belacha,
that
every
summer,
Shalom.
words
that
came
summer
out of the
Tisha
Rebbe,
B'Av,
doesn't mean
the Rebbe couldn't stop crying by Echa, by Kinus, and by the
it
Mafkid.
doesn't mean he
The
knew
only
it.
time he ever cried like
Not
that.
allowed to.
You got to see this.
Because it didn't happen.
His lost opportunity.
Right.
He said, Claude Mashiach, no question.
Was ready to-
There was no Shtachva HaKodesh. The names of Keichev Eitzim Yodi. But there he says that everybody was inspired, the whole world would change. It was
I was a Mecca
Then
Shlichus.
It all disappeared.
I was Mecca Shlichus
You
in
gotta
New
see
Zealand.
that
Listen,
shit.
listen, man. I was Mecca Shlichus in New Zealand years ago, many years ago.
Wow.
He asked me I asked how many Jews are in the community in a small town. He says a certain amount. He says summer 1967 the community doubled. Why? Because all the people that wanted to run away from everything, they went to places like New Zealand. But summer of '67, the Jewish pride came out. They all registered back to the community.
This, by the way, I wrote up in English. This whole parsha.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
The lost
Peak of Jewish pride.
People were
Peak
so,
of Jewish
were
pride.
so destroyed from
Why would the Rebbe be crying all Tisha B'Av like that? He's crying over the...
lost out.
No, but he talks, his Yitzchak Kislev, he talks about, not just about Israel, but he puts He says, mentioned, the Rebbe said then, Hilu Tshuva
They
Achas,
saved that kid
become Nasa Tzadi Gomer.
being in the walls in Egypt.
The Yisod of the Rebbe, that everybody is
It's better that they didn't
redeemable, so to speak.
Say,
He says, mentioned Freg, it's a whole section, this is like an hour and a half explaining that Hilu Tshuva Achas, because that's the premise of Ayin. It's the whole picture of how he sees the world, and it says, even the Taneka Shadishbu. He covers the whole gamut. It's not just Israel; it's the whole world. I tell you, you could see the Rebbe's like. I think the most you're saying is like, we know it all. But
The Rebbe's take on
but there he all together. A whole lot of Gedela on this union of what people are saying. What's he say to this? So he speaks this the Limud, but then he speaks the other side. It's I don't remember all the words. It's very painful words. There's very strong issues there. I lost that for sure. You could see. I mean, the truth is, It wasn't just Shtachim, everything, the whole...
The way the world was
Right,
going.
you realize
Till
that
then,
everything also now today
till
is
then-
67.
yeah,
With
exactly.
the discussion of 67 borders, everybody's still going back to that same
No,
equipment.
No, because that was
They're trying to buy back the time.
Is in their thing, is it?
Trying to reverse time.
When the sheriff's coming?
No,
Till
but
then,
we
the Rebbe said not
say-
to
we never
worry.
say
After
that.
then,
We
the
never
Rebbe
say
was
that.
saying,
I think
Gewalt.
if you look in Parshas Vayechi,
We have the klal, not the prat.
you have Parshas Vayechi.
Okay.
Gather together and tell you what to
Right,
say.
right.
Who's Emes? The biggest Emes in the world. Yaakov Avinu, if he said it, he had to say it somehow. We have
Going to Psalm 70?
That was there.
Can I get it right?
He has to be.
What's going on?
Okay.
Cigar?
Yeah.
Kia, Todd,